connected to you. Feels like
Let's see. Nope. This is such a chunky thing. Okay, so that should be. All right, so you're connected. All right.
All right, everyone. Okay, I'm a little better today, if anyone cares. I'm taking some medicine, lyric.
If you want compassion, buy a dog. We're here to make money. What?
I'm just trying to tell you that if you don't take lyric, I think it knocks you out.
I'm just kidding you. Go ahead.
Listen, I got it. Anyway, let's start going before I fall asleep. All right. GameStop. They completed another 20 million share offering. Once again, I posted who bought the offering. The GameStop people keep saying this is great news. They now have $5 billion in cash, but there's another 20 million shares in the company. All right? They keep raising money. It's great. But who keeps supplying all the money? The shorts are shorting the stock and then buying it back from the company at a discount. I don't know about you, but I do that trade all day long. Sell it at 22, 23, let the shareholders pump it up all the time, and they short it and they buy it back from the company. It seems to be, this is the third or fourth time they've done it. It's ridiculous, and I don't understand the investors that keep talking it up. The people that keep posting on Twitter are buffoons, all right? The name of the game is not the capital, it's the business that you're running, okay? Getting all this capital is great, but what's the cost? It's dilution, okay? Dilution is the key. The company has, flooded the market with shares. Don't get me wrong, they got a lot of money, all right? But the company has shut down the short squeeze. I don't know why people just don't get over that. It's just remarkable. Does anyone have any questions about that? Let's address that first. They do realize that 20 million shares were just sold. Who purchased it? If it's anybody worth anything, we will see a filing that someone bought it. This is the third time, and not one person has ever filed that they bought stock from the company in an offering. Whether they're ashamed to tell us or it's a short covering. So again, not once, and the company's raised $4 billion, $5 billion now, and not one person has ever filed saying they bought it. If Warren Buffett would have stepped in and said, hey, I bought, the 20 million shares of stock, then it's a different story. Right now, nobody knows anything about it. So again, I listen, I hope everybody makes a lot of money, but the company is basically submarining your short squeeze. I think you need to grow up and understand what they're doing. All right, I'm tired of hearing it from people. What do you think? What do I think? What do I know? I tell you what I know. So the company's selling stock. The shorts know about it. Jeffries is doing the secondary. They're shorting it at $23, $24 on each one of these pumps. And then they're buying it back at 20. It's the easiest deal in creation, which is illegal to do, but they're doing it anyway. And the company gets the money. The shorts are making the spread, and I'll see you later. That's what I see going on. All right, GameStop was worthless, and now it's $5 billion. You now have a company that has $5 billion, so you're invested for the long term. The short squeeze is put to sleep, all right? And the company keeps covering the shorts. That's what I see. Do you see anything different than that, William?
GameStop is merging with another company.
Okay, well, good. Congratulations. So now you got two companies and whatever it may be. All right, but I still don't understand the short squeeze. All right.
Could Univest? Could there be a correlation between Univest and the special dividend, since we haven't heard about either for a long time?
I'm talking about GameStop right now.
All right, well, this was talking about Finger. All right, GameStop, I don't see any.
I'm just wanting to knock it out. I'm just listening to people. I don't care who they merge with, what they're doing. I don't think Brian Cohen's going to take his $5 billion in cash and give it to some other.
I think I don't have time to do it, but I think GameStop's worth less than what it's trading for. And I don't think there's going to be a squeeze. I think if anything, it'll go below $10 or below $7. Whatever the cash per share value, it's going to go below that, I think.
I'm just saying that they've taken the hype out of the short squeeze because they keep selling shares. They just sold another 20 million to the shorts, and they keep covering them.
Yeah, and they don't say who it is, and they don't give their plans, but they keep taking advantage of retail demand. Why? Because these are professionals, and they know the stock is overpriced. They're doing what the markets used to provide to CEOs. When your stock is overinflated, you use it as currency. That's what they're doing. They're just bringing in money so that Cohen and his buddies and girls have a 20-year job, but it's not going to help shareholders. That's my opinion. Of course,
I agree with
I
that.
could be totally wrong.
If you're in the stock, you want to play it, go buy the 30 calls at a dime or a quarter and just close your eyes and hopefully it works one day. That's all I can tell you because I don't see it anymore. And I told you hedge funds have given up on this name, trying to short it a long time ago. Hedge funds are not buying it. Retail keep pushing it up, and Ryan Cohen keeps issuing shares. That's all I can tell you. Yeah, any company issues shares, they get slaughtered for doing it. Ryan Cohen's getting rewarded for doing it. I don't know if you got me. You want to keep pumping it up? Good luck. So, end of the GameStop saga. If you're long, good luck. See you in the promised land. I could kill us. All right, good luck. I hope it goes to a zillion. Stop asking me about it. AMC, as you can see, it's in the same spot. They did the same thing. They flooded the market with shares, and they got the same fate. I don't understand how people don't understand it. The equity market has told you that there was a big short in it. They covered it. They lost billions of dollars, and the company is now closing out their position by issuing shares to the shorts. That's all I can tell you. That's what I see. All right, let's move on to FingerMotion. Let's go right there right now. All right, FingerMotion, as anybody can see, William sent me a great story today that was on Zinger about China stimulating their economy, and it's done in a big way, and it's actually driving growth again in China. So I don't know about you, but FingerMotion does 100% of its business in China. How is that not a positive for FingerMotion? I don't know. FingerMotion does everything in China. No matter what they do, it's a negative. It's good for everything in China but FingerMotion. That's the strangest thing I've ever seen in my life. I guess Jeff Easton knows better about China than all of us. All right? The country is getting the economy to get going again, and if it wasn't that, even Martin Chen said they had a downturn in the economy. Well, it's turned around, and the Chinese government is doing it in a big way to get it going. All right, and here it is. The stock is basically getting ready to rip and roar. That's what it tells me. That's exactly what I see. And what else can you say? The country is throwing the kitchen sink at getting the economy going. It's bullish for everything in China, but FingerMotion, I think you need to go back and look at what FingerMotion does, whether it's the data business or whatever else they got going on. All right, the charging of the Apple Care or the big data or their charging of the electric cars. The economy goes, everybody's moving, data is created, spending, you name it. But FingerMotion is still got someone trying to sell 100 shares of stock. All right, that's what you see. If you can't figure it out by now, that people go, why is the stock moving? Well, listen, again, we don't need to find buyers. We have the big buyers. If there's 230 million shares short and 1.7 million real shorts, okay, those are your buyers. All right? Those two are standing together. And just so you know, when today's the 24th, the new data on the real short comes out. With 28,000 shares trading, they have not covered any. Okay, people always ask, but how do you know they didn't cover? Well, he showed 1.7 million, the other guy showed 230 million. You tell me where you've seen any volume that they're covering. I don't see anything, zero. So them covering is make-believe. There is nothing there. So now you know the short numbers, you know who the short is, and you know they're still here. The real short data will give you an update on that. Also give you an update on BDC short. I put it up. MLSS had no real short. We'll see what's going on there. And what was the other stock? GDC, maybe TELO I put up also, William, short on that. It's funny that stocks that have heavily naked shorted names, they all seem to travel in the same circle. Like TELO is, got up to 8.5 the other day. The short squeezes over. GDC squeezed up here again. It's dead in the water today. ZJYL had to squeeze. Nothing going on there today. It's the strangest thing that how it goes like the tide. They come in, they go out, they stop. They go in, they go out. All right. But remember one thing: the cost to carry these positions does not go away. Wall Street makes money every day from these animals. All right, no matter what happens, they have to pay their fees. Whether a half a penny, a quarter of a penny, 3/4 of a penny, they have to pay to borrow. The FingerMotion short, 1,720,000 each day has to pay a fee. All right, add it up, 5 days a week, 20 days a month. So I think they have to pay 7 days a week. I'm pretty sure. They have to cover these fees. So FingerMotion, so if the guy is short 1.7 million shares at 250, I said 250, 260 every day, just keeps going lower. By next week, he could be down to 245. It keeps going low. That's the most money they can make. Because remember, they have to pay fees to carry this position. It's not free. All right? That is a real short. He has to pay a fee. Eventually, it'll be inverted, and he will be upside down. And no one who's short a stock that's upside down is going to stay short a stock. Imagine if his whole cost is going to be $2, and he's short 1.7 million, and the stock is 230, 240, 250. How long before he panics and covers? Just think about what I just said there. When his cost is below the price of the stock and he's losing money, imagine it goes down to $1.50. Let's say it's 6 months from now. His cost goes below 2 and the stock is 3. He can't stay short. He's going to panic and cover. That's 1,700,000 shares to buy at the market. If the naked short doesn't sell it to him, this stock will be $20. I pointed it out yesterday. All right, that's how massive that short is. 1,720,000. What they're seeing today, 28,000 shares trading. That's what normal this stock should be trading. 20, 30,000 shares. That's it. This is a small company. How are you going to cover almost 2 million shares of stock? I know how he's going to do it, and it's going to be very high. That will ignite the naked short seller. It's right in front of you. It's right here. All right, so pay attention to the numbers. We present the data so you can understand it. They hate it that we're following the real short because the real short is exposing the naked short. All right, we'll follow both of them. No one ever points that out. All right, so pay attention to it. You have the information. It's right in front of you. And I hope you understand it. Does anyone have a question on that at all? William?
With all the blatant corruption, it makes sense to assume the SEC is slow walking the finger dividend.
I don't believe that. I told you before, I think the agreement with Univest they parted ways. All right, that's what we heard. We heard that the $300 million, whatever that number was, S1 has expired. And I heard that from my friend who works at a major firm that is working on a research product. Now, I don't know when the research on this company is coming out, but I'll give you the name of the firm. It's they met with Roth Capital, and people I know work there, and they were on the call, and they're the ones that told me to keep an eye on the data, and they're the ones that told me about that the relationship with Univest, because they have not raised the money, the $300 million S1 doesn't exist anymore. So there is no money raise going on at all. So we look for Roth Capital to come out with a research report, not a money raise, a research report. That's what was told to me. And my friend told me to keep an eye on big data, because that's what they highlighted on their conference call. So it's coming. I know the shorts don't want to hear it. All right. Again, Wall Street's a small place. We have people all over the street. I told you it was the firm before, and that's where it is, Roth Capital. I wanted to let it get behind us, so I don't want the shorts to try to upend any relationship. All right. But the analyst at Roth Capital, I believe, is doing a report on it. I don't know their name. I don't want to ask, but that's what I heard. All right. So I'm sure it's going to be higher than benchmark if they do a research report. Benchmark had their $5 target. I think my friend made it sound like this is very exciting. So again, I'm not going to put any words out there. Let them do what they have to do, and let's see what happens when it comes out. All right. But again, this is not inside information. My friend worked on the desk, called me, and told me. So I gave you the name. There's no research report out there yet, so let's see what happens on that front. I wanted to let you know about that yesterday, William. I forgot. All right. Again, China is exploding. The country, the government is now stimulating the economy. FingerMotion has got their fingers in a lot of big parts of China's economy. All right. People will pay for their phones. People will charge up their EVs. People will do travel. People will do everything. Data, cell phone insurance, you name it. FingerMotion is part of it. But Wall Street doesn't understand it yet because their research reports aren't there. Institutions come later, which is good. Unless the retail people here want institutions to buy it first and then you pay 10 times higher. That's how it looks. All right. When you get in the story early, all right, it's very hard. Remember, I told you that before. Getting in early is not easy. All right, but Michael Burry told you about it. I was early, and how did it pay out for him? So as long as you're following the story and you're reading the information available, you make your own investment decision. I personally believe the stock is worth 100 without a short squeeze. Unfortunately, I'm not Fidelity Management. I don't have billions of dollars to invest, so I can't do any more. So I'll just sit and I'll wait it out. Any questions, William?
Do you think the shorts are gambling? Fingers earnings in October don't meet expectations, so the shorts can lower the share price. Good earnings, the shorts will be screwed.
The shorts, listen, this company's put out positive releases and the stock has gone down. They rang the bell, they marked it down. The company announced a contract, they knocked it down. Announced another contract, they knocked it down. They announced the biggest contract I think they have, installing those the data, whatever the software, and every emergency vehicle in China. What short knows anything about that? Right? I don't know anything about it. Who knows anything about that? We were trying to figure out how many vehicles they're going to do. You know, and the numbers are all over the place, as high as 4 million. 4 million emergency vehicles, from fire trucks, police, hazards, you name it. They're all going to get this upgrade of software in it, and FingerMotion's got the contract on it. How did FingerMotion get the contract on that, and what the hell did they install it? I don't know. But the short sellers know about that? They have no clue about it. No one does. I really don't even know. And I hope William gets a chance. Maybe you can get some information how that works when Martin Shen gets back to you and you have a call with it, because I have no idea.
Look, can I be clear to everybody? Everybody's putting pressure. I contacted Martin. Martin told me he would get back to me as soon as he was glad to hear from me. Very responsible. Responsive. He wants to speak. He wants to answer questions. He is unable to because there's 2 or 3 things that are pending. So stop everybody putting pressure on it. He cannot speak to me while he's under a quiet period. So that's just how it is. It's how it is.
No, listen, I'm not putting pressure. I'm just saying when he does pop up, that's all. Yeah. When he comes up, he comes up. That's Wall Street for you. The company and the CEO have to stay between the white lines, and the naked short seller is just running, crushing every line possible. They commit fraud every day. William, there was a story on Reuters today. I don't know how many firms committed security fraud that they fined a bunch of firms, Wall Street firms, to pay a combined $100 million for record-keeping violations. I mean, these firms include Stifel Nicholas, Invesco, Canadian Imperial Bank Commerce, violating record-keeping for broker dealers. I mean, everything they do is crooked. CIBC Private Wealth Advisors paid another $12 million to the SEC. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Here it is, Blazer Capital, whatever. I don't know what it's.
I remember Blazer.
Canaccord paid Canaccord Genuity paid $1.2 million to the SEC. The CEO is under investigation to DOJ. Region Securities, Alpaca Securities, Focus Wealth Management. It's the Wild West.
Yeah.
Everyone here is trying to invest, and everybody else is trying to steal. Think about that. They get letters from the SEC to provide documents, and they just lie. They don't even show them. They must just toss them out the window. I don't even know what the hell's going on. This is insane. Just think about it. I posted we're down to 31 trading days. In a few hours, in 4 hours, we'll be down to 30. I'm going to be working with someone today, working on getting Pat Byrne to speak with us. He's not easy, but I will try to get him to come on. I'm trying to hold back on it. I want to get it closer to the election. I want to move that back. I'm trying to get as close as I can. I don't want to do it now because everyone seems to have a short-term memory. And what did you do for me lately? We want to hold off and have that information down the road. All right, that's what I see. The Chinese simulating the economy, that is a direct correlation to FingerMotion. That's what they do. Their business in China. I don't know about you, but you can't get any more. The company's been held down unfairly for months. Since they rang the bell on the NASDAQ, it's down 50%. The market's rallying. And I can see people say, well, the Chinese economy is not doing well. I can understand if you understand the Chinese economy and you sold it. That's one thing. But every day we watch these small orders. I post them up every day. And just think about the shorts. They're standing there looking at us, praying that we don't drive it up. But there's no reason to drive it up on our side. Okay? We've done that. We've done all the heavy lifting. If you go back and look at the chart, I put it up when we had it up to 7. Buying millions of shares every day. They were shorting it all like crazy. That's when they brought in Capybara to do the fake report, and they attacked it down. So listen, accumulation sideways will get you the big bang to the upside. We don't need volatility. We want a slow march up. The company keeps presenting that they're worth more than where it's at, and slowly it will rise based on the fundamental value. Eventually, the short that's 1.7 million, he'll throw the towel in, and he'll become a buyer, and he will ignite the naked short, and he'll become a buyer. And that's how the game is played. That's how you want it to play out. You don't need me or anybody else get out here telling people to go buy the stock. That's not my job. All right? Everyone is boarded. Everyone's in place. Everybody knows what's going on. You can see we traded 31,000 shares. I think all the big boys are well educated about what's going on here. All right? So I wouldn't be concerned about that. Any other questions?
How high Finger can go with all this nonsense going on?
I just showed you 1.7 million. I believe the stock would be north of 20 if the naked short side holding it down. North of 20, just under 1.7 million. Then throw in the 230 million and go from there. Remember, as the stock starts to go, Just like GameStop, every hedge fund in the world is going to start running into it because they all smell blood. All right, so keep an eye. That's what makes it really go. And if you sell it as a smart seller, and you sell, if you own 1,000 shares and you start working out of 100, as it keeps going, get your break even, break all your money off the table so you don't lose any money, God forbid. The more that happens, the higher it goes. Because remember, when the shorts start in the cover, people on Wall Street are going to know the buy orders around. That's what happens. People all talk. They'll know the buy orders around. Once everybody knows the buy order around, all those big mouths that were running in front buying GameStop, they all knew. They all knew there was a short squeeze in place, and they knew someone was getting bought in. That's why that stock ran to the moon. The best thing about FingerMotion is we all know who the short is, and we all can see when the buy-in begins. You'll know more better than anyone. You'll have more information than any hedge fund on the street. How's that for a change? You'll have all the information. The hedge funds are going to be looking to us for information. And they'll come in later. Guys will come in and pay 20 because they know they can sell it at 40. They'll pay 50 because they know they can sell it at 100. That's exactly what they were doing in GameStop. Because once they see the buyer, okay, it's too late. The game's in play. And I told you before, everyone should buy one share. I don't care if the SEC is listening. It's an educational tool that you'll be able to look at one share for $2. And your children or your grandkids, whoever it is, will actually get an education about the stock market owning one share. If you want to paper trade it, you don't have the $2, I got it. But you can buy it, say I paid $2.19 for it, and just learn how to trade it. It may run to 10, you can sell it at 10. If it pulls back to 8, you can buy it back. And you can see how much money you can make off of this trade once the game begins. All the ingredients for the rocket are all loaded in right now. The Chinese economy is now being funded by the Chinese government to get it going again in a big way. All right? You got to spend money to make money. That's what the Chinese people are doing. And they're getting it going. Any questions, William?
It seems like the shorts have a way to limit squeezes. Don't you think they'll do the same with Finger?
All right, we're 31 days, and we're going to 30 days. Okay? The election, Trump wins, Pat Byrne gets in here. Everything you think the shorts have an advantage on, it's over. Their days are coming to an end. That's why I'm counting it down for you. Their days of running the show are over. We're going to run the show now. Our people are going to run the show. You don't think Donald Trump and Devin Nunes know what's going on by now? You don't think they see the security fraud? Yesterday, Busy Brands had, what's his name, JFK
RFK.
retweet. RFK retweeting is the MMTLP questions to FINRA. They're all aware of what's going on here. The game's going to change. They're standing up for the little guys. That's us. These guys have been looting. Their days are over. And I don't care who they are. Jeff Easton, this guy, Virtue, they're all going down. Wolf has 1 billion shares short, traded up to 5 today again. I just wanted to let everybody know that I had my kids buy this stock today, and it's come from the crypto world. I know zero about it. Eddie Boy Frank Indian. It's a crypto, I think blockchain something. Please do your homework on it. Figure it out yourself. My daughter paid $2.95 and $3 for it. I don't know when, where, what. It's, people that were in Wolf told me to buy it, so that's all I know. I know nothing about it. I didn't personally buy it. My daughter had money, she bought it, so that's it. That's all I know. You can write it down. I don't know much about it, so don't ask me. I just gave you the symbol. It's probably something for the future. Pay attention to it. Do your own homework. I don't know how many shares are here. I know nothing about it. Zero. All right, so that's something that the people that told me about Wolf at 60 cents, they're involved here, so that's all I know. It's a crypto blockchain, William.
It's got to win.
That's,
Crypto,
Okay.
blockchain, the only other thing you need in there is AI, and it's got to go up.
I guess, I don't know. I'm not involved. Again, I'm in one place, I'm in FingerMotion, that's it. I stay with the horse that brought me to the race. I told you after Trump gets in and Pat Burns in here, I will do all these crazy names, get move from one to the other after I get my short squeeze and finger. But until then, I'm staying here. I told you I can get you new stories every day. I can't remember the symbol JB. I can get the symbol of it. IL maybe. There's a Chinese name that they slaughtered it, and I posted it before. Let me see.
AGII.
Hold on a second.
I might have written it down.
Hold on a second.
There's T-Low. It's the new high.
JBDI. My friend told me about this thing. It's got slaughtered. I have no idea what it is. But it's traded 18 million shares. He told me there's only 3 million shares in the float he thinks. I mean, how does it trade 18 million shares? It's not trading at, it's not trading at like $150. It's $1.40. So everyone who's buying it is selling it, it's over and over again. It's insane. I don't know anything about it. It was an IPO. It spiked to 40. Shorts got killed. They beat it back down. Who the hell knows what's going on? I'm just showing you that this is a stock that's traded 18 million shares today, and there's only 3 million, I believe, in the flow. That's what I heard about that one. I don't know anything about it.
Does the rate cut affect short sellers?
It depends on the leverage that the banks, whoever they're borrowing from. I think that the risk is being cut down. I don't think the person shorting IBM is getting a problem getting a loan, shorting stocks. I think the people that are naked shorting and have very risky positions, I think that's where the problem lies. I think whoever's lending, Jeffries could be lending Lynn Partners money to short FingerMotion. I think they're going to rein them in and say, hey, we have to raise your cost here. And they're going to say, no, we're good guys. And they say, well, you know what, I'm sorry about that. I think that's where, you got to remember the whole game is just make believe here. Everybody makes up their own numbers. That's the whole thing is just make believe. Stock loan is make believe. The rates that they charge everybody are different. You could be someone's cousin, they give you a better rate than the next guy. It's just, the whole thing is no one's watching it, and it's just unregulated, the whole thing.
Question is whether the SEC ordered GME to sell 20 million shares.
I think that they have. I think they used, what's that guy's name? Ryan Cohen. Ryan Cohen got in trouble with the SEC for forcing a short squeeze and Bed Bath & Beyond. Remember, William, I called that for you at $3. $3, I think it was, $3.50. Mm-hmm. It went to 33. Ryan Cohen was all hot and gung-ho on it. And then Ryan Cohen sold out, and everyone got left holding the bag, and then it got wiped out. Mm-hmm. So Ryan Cohen, he did the honorable thing. He sold out. And Roaring Kitty, when he did the honorable thing, he held on. It shows you the two different type of people. The Wall Street guy sold out, and the buffoon held on in GameStop. And I think the SEC used that against Ryan Cohen. They dropped his charges, and they probably told him, hey, we'll drop the charges, but you better cover the shorts in GameStop, and that's what I think that the whole floodgate opened on all those shares. And this is the third time you raised money.
With the China news last night, I was hoping for a bigger jump in Finger. I don't think he should be in Finger then. If you were expecting a jump from a news headline, you probably need to find a different stock.
Listen, William, listen. We all expect a jump from the Chinese news, okay? FingerMotion is below the radar as far as Chinese news go. Alibaba, Tencent, those are the stocks that jump on the Chinese news. When a company like Roth Capital does the research report, and I hope they get it out there and we'll get to see it, that gets more to the institution. My friend is an institutional guy at Roth Capital. He covers institutions, whether they're Chinese companies, this company, that company. They go out to the big hedge funds and the big money managers and they tell their story because they have a written report, okay? Most of these guys don't buy these stocks until they pass a certain price, right? That's why a lot of times these stocks are held down. But once they pass that price, they won't be awake. If you're not in it, you won't get a chance to buy it. So again, waiting for the Chinese news to make it to FingerMotion. You know, if you look at the stories, they never say Alibaba, Tencent, FingerMotion. All right, this is a deep dive. You're reading about FingerMotion because we accidentally found it, and we're finding all the news about it. FingerMotion is doing deals with Munich Re, Pacific Life Re. I think they do deals with Alibaba and internally with Tencent and all these other big players. China Mobile, China Unicom. They're doing deals with everybody. But no one's doing a deep dive onto it. The first analyst that does the deep dive, they'll come out with their report, and that'll change the game. All right? Benchmark was a shithead tied to Jeff Easton. They even put a $5 target on it. Trust me, they were probably grinding their teeth that they had to do this. All right? And that was part of the payment that for FingerMotion, that when they introduced them to Jeff Easton, Benchmark said they would do a research report. Well, there's a research report, right? And that's the Wall Street firm doing a research report, and then it said it was $5. They told you, read their reports. It's been on Twitter. Read their report. Their report is very good, but they didn't give it they're missing half of the stuff that came out after the report. They didn't speak anything about the naked short in the stock. They don't want to say that. They don't want to uncover that. And if you look at it, Benchmark is now raping KNW with Lynn Partners. Go read that one, KNW. Go read about the financing there. Anyone buying that stock is out of their bird.
So he goes on to say that he's still bullish for the company in the coming months. And that's what happens with news like that. It takes a while to filter through.
Listen, it's not, FingerMotion is not in the Dow Jones. It's not in the top Chinese names. It's a startup that's been growing leaps and bounds over the years. The news gets stronger and stronger. And just like Michael Burry, we got in early. It sucks to get in early. You don't get rewarded for getting in early in the U.S. equity markets because the naked shorts destroyed them. All right? But getting in early and getting destroyed are companies like CELU, MULN, CEI, COSM, GNS. I can go through the list of companies, even, all been ripped apart, and they had to reverse their stocks. FingerMotion has not succumbed to that. And that's where the shorts are in trouble because they thought they would knock them out. But guess what? The game's over now. We're down to 30 trading days. We're down to. In 3.5 hours, 3 hours, we'll be down to 30 trading days. When I get up the call today, I'm going to work on setting up the call with Patrick Byrne, and we're going to have Patrick Byrne, okay, come on and tell you again, okay, how he plans to fix stock settlement and what is the outcome when he fixes stock settlement. All right? When Patrick Byrne fixes stock settlement, you're going to hear what the outcome is for the short sellers that are short. And if you think he's going to be polite about it, If you think he's going to be polite about it, you got the wrong guy. One person said, well, it's going to take time. There's no time. Patrick Byrne is going to execute them quick. The more they destroy DJT, the better it is for us. All right, and they have destroyed that stock. All right, so again, I just looking at FingerMotion. Someone came out and sold 200 shares, the market down, and the bids all disappear. Everyone on this call, again, I don't know how many people are here, but I put up the loophole about the market maker exemption. And the head of the NASDAQ, I forgot his name, Tom Gera, said he was concerned that hedge funds were signing up to get the market makers and that they would only go on the box, make a market in a stock, and be sell only. So if someone goes to sell 1,000 shares of Finger, they drop the bids. That's because they are doing exactly what Tom Gera said. And I'll repost the loophole again, meaning that all they do is sell and they do not buy any back. And that's what Tom Gera and the head of the NASDAQ was concerned about in 2007. Exactly what I just told you. They sell, and then when someone goes to sell, if you go to sell your stock, I'll buy one share, take it easy, I'm out of the way. And you can see it. Now, if I was short FingerMotion, 1.7 million shares, trust me, I'd be out here trying to cover. Because today, whenever it comes out the news, we're going to get an update again and exposing that we're tracking them like a dog. And that number is a real number. You can't say we're making it up. You can't say this. You can't say that. We're watching them like a dog. They have to buy the shares back and return it to lower that number from 1,720,000 shares. If they do not do that, that number stays live. All right? They can't just fluff it. All right? They borrowed 1,720,000 shares. From who? I don't know. If anyone has shares at their broker firm, call your broker up and make sure you do not lend them out. I don't give you one share, do not lend it out. If we all called up and said don't lend out our shares, or you could put an order in, a good till cancel order, and pick a stupid number, put it out there, it takes a second, you don't have to call anybody. And they can't be short because they can't lend your shares out if they're out for sale. Remember, this is Wall Street's game. They change the rules as we go along. We're just trying to outsmart them. And I think we got smart people, and I think we are going to outsmart them. And just think about it. You're going to get the next president of the United States, Devin Nunes, a former head of Intel Committee, and Patrick Byrne, the king, okay? He was the most hated man on Wall Street for fighting naked shorts. And he's coming back. And he told you in his own voice, not me to make it up. It's right there. They're going to fire Gary Gensler, and Pat Byrne is going to step in. I don't think you can ask for anything more. And people, listen, I'm not here to try. If you want to trade, I told you before, go trade Tesla, go trade NVIDIA, go trade whatever you want to go. That's where the action is. Go trade Costco. Today, it was 9.19 yesterday. They knocked it down to 9.01. Today, it's that's a hockey game. Go play those games. I'm not here to play the dangerous game anymore. I'm not here to do that. All right, I'm trying to find something slow, steady, that will be a home run swing. All right, I know we have it. I know I have it. I've done my homework. I talk about it every day. All right, I tell you my feelings about like stocks like GameStop. I tell you my feelings about AMC. I've said that a long time ago. That guy sold you out. I told you I had a photo with a guy in the booth with him at the Kansas City football game. If you've been here long enough, you know I did that. I tried to help the people at MMTOP. We did that. We got them on TV. We've done everything. That crowd is helping us out more than anybody can believe. They're out there fighting every day. And they can't do anything. They can't sell it. They can't buy it. They can't do anything. We have the shareholders helping out GTII. big shareholders are helping out. They're going to clean that up, and that's going to come back alive again. I met with a gentleman this morning that has a company, and he wants to merge his company to GTII on the thread. All right, so there's many opportunities. This is from the fighting side. The crying side, I'm sorry about this. If you got robbed, I can't stop it. Ken Griffin is like the 42nd richest man in the world. I don't know how that guy's not number one. He only does just puts his hand into the bank and just takes out money all day. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Imagine that. The guy became a market maker. He's the richest guy in the world. Never a losing trade. How? Who doesn't want that job? Right? Never a losing trade. Remarkable. And VIRT has followed footsteps with that. That stock is worthless when Pat Byrne comes in here and they force settlement. This guy won't be able to steal like he's doing with Ken Griffin. He's got the Ken Griffin model on a different level. He pays for order flow and they short it all. That's what they do. Any questions, William? Any legitimate questions? If you don't have a real question, then don't read it, please.
JBDI, did you already talk about that?
JBDI, what is that?
Maybe.
Yeah, I talked about it. I don't know how it's trading 19 million shares. There's only 3 million shares in here.
Okay.
I have no idea what's going on there. It's all over the place. Again, I don't know anything about it. I gave you that other symbol. I forgot about it already. The smart guys that were in crypto told me to buy it. I forgot. I mean, what it is. That's bad. Maybe you could tell me what the hell it is.
You don't know the answer to this, but do you think Patrick Byrne will bring resolution to the MMTLP fraud?
I think Patrick Byrne, yes, he will help out. Patrick Byrne wants to do one thing: fair elections. Okay. That's number one. Once Trump wins, number two is stock settlement. And then he's gone. That's it. He told you himself. We have the video, we have the audio. You got the audio. And I'm going to bring it up because there's many people always ask the same questions. They want to have their hand held. Okay. And that's all I can do is bring it up again. But I'm trying to hold it back because I want the days to go by. If I put it up now, it's, oh, that was 30 days ago, but it doesn't mean anything now. I want more. No, we're not giving you more. We're going to hold back a little bit. And, we'll let FingerMotion do what they have to do. The Chinese economy is kick-starting, going, and, they'll drive their revenue and the earnings will come out. We all believe that they're going to be cash flow positive coming up shortly. The CEO even tells you in his videos that he's getting close to that. So they don't need money from Wall Street or Fraud Street, as we call it, So, we don't know what's going on. They eliminated all ties to Wall Street. Once you don't have to reach out to Wall Street to get money, that's how you win. Once you go profitable, my friend told me and William right there, William, remember? What did Rob tell us?
He said they run away. He said it's
they run away.
Kryptonite.
The short story is over, and it's the end of it. This company has survived the onslaught of Jeff Easton, his offshore friends, and his mother shorting the stock. And now he's trapped like a rat. All right? He's got to worry about Andrew Lusk giving him up. He's got to worry about the DOJ. He's got to worry about everything he's doing. All right? On a $2.20 stock is going to bring him down. He wanted to keep playing? Good luck. Now he's trapped. And that's what tells me that the real short could start covering any second. Listen, I'm telling you, just make believe you're the real short. Everyone here, you're looking at the stock. There's no selling in it. It's traded 35,000 shares. There's zero selling. There's manipulation of 100 shares back and forth, but there's zero selling. Tells me something is coming. This thing is getting ready to erupt. And that comes from years of experience at watching stocks trade. If this symbol was Tesla, you'd be buying the shit out of it. because it's a small company and everyone's looking at, if I buy it, I'm going to have to own it for 2 weeks or a month. I'm going to have to hold on to it. And that's what no one wants to do. If you want to trade, I told you, don't buy the stock. Go trade something else. You shouldn't even be on this call. This is a different game. This is a stock that I believe is going to change your life. All right? The stocks that change your life is where I want to be. I'm not looking to buy something to make $1,000 today. If I wanted to do that, I hang up the phone. I never speak to you again, and I would do it myself. I don't need you to tell me what to do. Anybody here? I forgot the symbol of that stock. I can't remember the symbol. EBFI was on my mind. I know EBFI. Whatever it is, $3. Whatever.
Somebody's asking you for that. I don't.
Yeah, I don't know. That's all I know is a symbol. And please write it down because I'm going to forget it. I have nothing to do with it. I told him my daughter bought it, my boyfriend bought it. That's all I know. Any boy, Frank Indian, I don't know when it goes. I know the people that are into crypto, big crypto players, told me to buy it. And, you know, last time they told me to buy Wolf, it went from 60 cents to $5, $6. So I'll give them another shot because guess what? They know what they're doing. So I'll just follow what they're doing. Go read about it, learn about it, watch it. You figure it out. I'm not going to, again, if I get information, I'll tell you. Otherwise, I'm not paying attention to it. I told you I can get a story every day. Every day I can get a new story. Every hour, but not every day. If I call up 20 guys, I'll come back with 20 different stocks. You know, I get guys calling me about, you know, CBM, Northwest Bio, experts, people that know every trade about the stocks, not just guessing or they just heard about it. Everyone has a story. And you know what? I'm following the story that I've been following for years. That's what I'm saying. Again, I could care less if you buy it, don't buy it. Give me a story that's got a better, I think, setup than FingerMotion. I don't think you're going to find one. I think the setup is better than any stock out there. And I followed Taser, Krispy Kreme short squeezes. Jesus, I can't remember all of them. Andrea Electronics, for those who don't remember, that's an old one. That went from 4 to 100. It was on the American Stock Exchange. A&D used to be the symbol on that one. There's so many. Peloton, Beyond Meats, you name it. We've seen them all. All right, been around them, traded them. We know how they move, what happens. We know when a stock goes from nothing to $200. We all know it's a short squeeze. Unfortunately, it's hard to buy puts or short them because you can't borrow the shares, right? And the puts are so expensive on these stocks. You know, to go buy it when Peloton's $200, you know, the 160 puts were probably $25. You know, everyone knows that they're just short squeezed and they're going to collapse. We all know it. But it's impossible to time it. And to go buy an option for $25 and watch it go to zero, because if it doesn't fail by a certain time, you get wiped out. So those are very dangerous. So my experience of trading these stocks that get squeezed up and shorting them at the top, I've been watching this stuff for 35 years. And I'm sure Pete from Philly, the Polish assassin, will say the same thing. You know, we've both done the same thing for a long time. And people that are listening to this call that come from all walks of life, you're learning as we go, and I got it. It's hard. But again, if you're looking for quick day trading profits, go trade Tesla. Go buy calls, buy puts, and see how you do. Good luck. It's very dangerous. You win, you lose, you win, you lose. When you get a winner, you sell it up 20 cents. When you get a loser, you hold it and it's down $2. And that's what we all do. Everyone does it. I've done it. Everyone does it. Get your patterns, figure it out, and learn how to trade, and you stick to your guns. But every once in a while, you find something that you think can really go the distance, you have to make that decision. I'm going to stay with it. And you can't cry about it every day because you made a decision. Oh, I should have, why didn't I sell it when I was 50 cents? Imagine if you did that GameStop. It goes up 50 cents, you sell it, say, oh, I made a great trade. And you say, but I really loved it. I really wanted to be in it, but I needed the money. And guess what? Then it takes off and then you're nauseous about it the rest of your days. I'm sure there's people still in GameStop that had the opportunity to sell it that didn't do it and still kicking themselves in the ass. All right, so you have to determine what you want to do as far as an equity player. Anything else, William?
If Trump loses, will the short even worse?
I think that FingerMotion it's too late for the shorts in FingerMotion. I think the company would be profitable and they would be out of luck here. I told you before, I believe they picked the wrong stock. They could torture DJT, right? Because if Trump loses, they can torture him there. But FingerMotion is a company that it's going to go black. And I think that once they start to be profitable, they have so many major dealings going on that there's where they go. There's no room to short it. I keep trying to tell you that.
This question's come up many times. Do you know Mitch Wexler? He's in Dallas. He's a lawyer. He's gone after Mockingbird properties. They cause huge fraud with a government formula to determine property appraisals. I know you don't know anything about it, but it's been asked so many times and I've ignored it. So I ask you.
Property appraisals?
Yeah. So the whole point is
I've owned one property for 30 years. I have no idea about anything about real estate. I'm not a real estate person, so that's not my thing.
Yeah.
I know nothing about it, so
which is why I skipped it many times, but I thought I'd get
Oh, you can answer it. I know nothing about it. I know about stocks. I know numbers. I usually don't do a deep dive into research. I just gave you a symbol. Again, I forgot the symbol already. Maybe EBFI. Let's see if I remembered it. Yeah, I got it. EBFI. There you go. I remembered it, but that's my extent. I told you MLSS. I purchased it at $1. What is it? Something about the spinal tap. That's all I know. Epidural, excuse me. I mean, that's it. FingerMotion, I studied every day for years. Not for a week, for years. And I have people all over the street and listening and hearing. If anything comes about, they popped up at Worth Capital. Worth Capital is, I'm told, working on a research report. And as far as I'm concerned, the $300 million equity raise, the S3, I think it's called an S3, has expired. And the company will not be raising that big money, so that anyone who's shorting against that S3 is now trapped. There is no S3. The research report from my friend who works on the trading desk, he said that the big data was something that they were very important about, that they were looking. He said, keep an eye on that. They expect those numbers to start coming. Anything else? I tried to touch everything as I got going. Remember, I'm on medication, so give me a break. Anything else, buddy?
I don't know. Does Finger have 75,000 shares now? I don't know.
Does Finger have 75,000
I don't know. Let me look it up. He's saying the key is accumulation, and he's saying 75,000 shares. He did not mention the stock.
75,000 shares.
He doesn't have it. Just a matter of time. Accumulation is key up to 75,000 shares. Thank you. I don't know what it means. No idea.
Oh, well, listen, so I'll give you an example.
The volume's 35,000 today, so maybe that's
that buys 5,000 every day.
Yeah.
Okay. He's a broker. He's buying for a hedge fund. He buys it every day. He doesn't care if it's 3, 10, 2, 1. He buys 5,000 every day. He knows the story. The client knows the story, and his instructions to buy 5,000 every day. Whether he buys 1,000 every hour, I don't know. I don't ask. But they made the determination they're going to accumulate the stock. Many of my friends say the same stupid thing. Well, why don't you get some big guys to just jam it and go for it? And I keep telling them, I'm not in the business of doing that. Okay? I'm not here to go out here and fight toe to toe. These guys have been selling stock. Accumulation and sideways movement will start to move up step by step. If it goes up a penny a day, it's good enough for me. They'll get tired of selling, and guess what? The clock is running out. There's 30 days left to go. In 4 hours, it'll be 30 trading days before Pat Byrne and Donald Trump take over. That's it. And I'm telling you, Pat Byrne's going to decapitate them. They ruined and just tried to destroy his life for many years. He put a lot of effort into his videos. Go to decaption.com. This guy, he was up there. His family owned Geico. They sold to Warren Buffett. He's close ties to Warren Buffett. This is a well-respected man. All right? And he is going to be our leader. All right? And to me, he's my leader. Okay? I may be crazier and work harder, but this guy has the political clout, and he has the family clout. He's wealthy, and this is a guy who's well-respected. I'm just a knucklehead. All right? I watch it day to day. He has no idea of what the way I describe things to you. That's not his thing. He's not a trader.
Oh, Nick owns 75,000 shares personally of FingerMotion.
Well, that's good. I'm happy for you. All right. I've got groups that own 4 million, 5 million, 3 million, 2 million. I speak with them all the time. One of them is a big Cleveland Browns fan. I make fun of him every day. But again, these are people that believe, that I've flown and sat down with, and they accumulated the stock. One of my friends paid $10 for 350,000 shares. That's it. He paid $3.5 million, $4 million he put into the company. At 10. So again, people are here for a reason. They know how big this is in China. It takes a little time. The only reason it's being held down is by a naked short keeps manipulating the stock. That's it. There's no other reason the stock's being held down. Everybody, the insiders, everybody's here. The stock is tightly held. We met a lot of big owners when they rang the bell. I wasn't at the NASDAQ, but I met them later on. They're from Asia. They all understand it. They don't sell it. They all believe the stock's going to the moon. Why? Because they can actually see what's going on in China. We don't pay attention because half of us don't pay attention to China. There's nothing against us. But it's the biggest market in the world. It's a U.S. company doing business in China. It's the same thing. Same thing as Starbucks, McDonald's, Nike. They all do business in China. Only FingerMotion is getting allowed to make money off Chinese properties or Chinese businesses. FingerMotion is allowed to make money off of Nike, Starbucks, and all. Have to sell their U.S. product in China. No one has access to the Chinese telecoms. FingerMotion does. No one has access to the Chinese data on the consumer. FingerMotion does. No one has access to putting in. They're the only one with a license to install that software in every emergency vehicle in China. Read the press release. The first of its kind. And someone wants to sell 100 shares of stock to mark it down all the time. People, you're not paying attention to what's going on. Read the news. It's right there. It's all right there. Anything else? Anybody else want to say anything? Or
Do you still own MLSS?
yes,
That means it must be going up.
it hasn't done anything. It was $1.60 the other day. I missed the whole thing. Someone told me it was higher. I don't even know.
Someone's telling you to watch a Brett Favre video. I don't know why.
Oh, with the Percocets.
Maybe.
Is that why?
Maybe. I think he was just diagnosed with Parkinson's. He's 54.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Listen, I keep trying to tell people, I can't believe that we have to sit here and fight for your investment. It's just remarkable that the SEC allows these criminals to do this. I'm sorry, I'm walking right now, but I had to stand up. My leg is bothering me. I have to walk with a walker after knee surgery to make sure your leg is stabilized. So I went from being like middle-aged to now I'm completely 100 years old. Give me 1 second. Hold on. You can hear the noise from the stupid thing. I'm just walking over to the charger. Give me 1 second, William. All right. I'm sorry. Anyway, I feel terrible for the people that have to use a walker when your hands hurt from pressing onto it to hold your weight all the time. But I just had to stand up, and you have to keep moving a little bit so you don't get a blood clot in your leg from the surgery. So I'm just having to stand up a little bit. Any other questions? MLSS, $1, bought the stock 2-3 weeks ago. A guy who I respect told me to buy it. That's why I'm there. And if I do that, I would buy that other stock I just told you about, because I really respect those people, and I don't have the capital to do it.
Which stock is the one stock to focus on?
FingerMotion. 5 years I put in. 5 years. I don't have to hear any bullshit. I don't need to hear a story. Whatever story I hear, I can figure out whether it makes sense, whether it's bullshit or not. I've been hearing a rumor that the companies are going to do something in AI. Is that fact, fiction? You know something? I believe that it could potentially happen. All right. I don't know. But that story, if it ever comes out, imagine being the company of AI in China. Look what it does in the US. This stock will rip to the moon, besides being a buzzword. So to me, I think that's more likely to happen than not happen. Okay, I have no knowledge of it, but it makes sense. I've heard that from people in Asia. I don't know. I don't tell you the truth. I don't even know how you make money from AI or how it works. But if it is going to happen, FingerMotion could be in tremendous asset, and we'll be on the front lines of it. Imagine having a $2.20 stock that now becomes like Nvidia in China, how they're not selling a chip, but getting access to the data. Can you hold on 1 second? Everyone, give me 1 second. I'm sorry, I was supposed to go on another call. I forgot about it at 1 o'clock. I just moved it to 1:30, so I'm okay. So again, these are things that, we heard things about Pacific Life Re and Munich Re a long time ago. They both happened. We heard things about the cell phone insurance, and that happened with AIC, another $10 billion company. This company's getting deals with major companies that are impossible to get. And the reason they're getting those contracts is because they are tied to the Chinese government. All right, so the Chinese government is giving this company a chance to become a major player. So if you think that this is all bullshit, then you stay away from it. If you think it's real, I happen to think it's real, and I'm right here. Lynn Partners thinks Lynn Partners thought it was just a company they can manipulate and destroy. Well, they're trapped now, and they're going to ruin their lives over it. They're going to go to jail. Andrew Left is going to give them up. We're going to bust them in the short position, and their lives are going to change. I don't even know, where is the stock at now, William? I don't even know.
216.
All right, so there you go. There's the extent of me trying to motivate people to buy. I could care less if you buy it or don't buy it. If you can't see it or feel it or don't understand it, then it's not the stock for you. If you're wealthy, go buy NVIDIA, go trade whatever you like. You're trying to scalp, go someplace else. This is not the scalp hotline. This is something that can change your life, and I'll say it again and again and again. And if I thought it couldn't change my life, I would have sold it, moved along, and had nothing to do with this thing. It went to 10, it went to 17, and I'm still here. It went to 4 about 2 months ago when they rang the bell. Still here. It went below $1. We're still here. Again, Pat Burns' stock was 3. He did the dividend. It went to 128. This company put on the news they're working on the special dividend with the warrant. When it comes, it comes. I don't work for the company. I can't tell you when it's going to come out, but they don't make statements that are going to be false. Listen to the CEO. You have to obey the laws as a CEO. Lynn Partners, they don't give a fuck about anything. Anyway, William, I'm out of gas. I'm walking around with a walker with one hand on it to loosen my leg up. And I'm going to go on another conference call at 1:30. And any questions before I go, please ask away. I hope everybody understands the GameStop, because I get questioned about it all night from everywhere. The company is selling shares to the short sellers. The short sellers sell it short at 24, and they buy it back from the company at 20. So the shorts make $80 million, $4, $3 times 20 million shares, 60 million, $20 million. And the company gets all this money. It's wonderful. And the shareholders are sitting here buying the calls every month and getting wiped out. I don't know how people don't see it, but that's what they've been doing. And believe me, I want to see a short squeeze greater than anybody and kill all the shorts. But the company is basically under instructions from the SEC or whatever, but they definitely reversed it and are helping the shorts right now. Killing the longs and helping the shorts. Now, they got $5 billion in the bank. Can they build a business and buy a business? They can go out there and buy the next. They can start and maybe like Ralph Crandon from the Honeymooners, invent the electric fork, and it could be the biggest disaster ever. Or they can get into the next hottest area ever, use that money, and it becomes worth 10 times this. I don't know, but it's a long-term play. And if you want to be here for the long term, that's what it's about now. The short squeeze, as far as I'm concerned, is over with and done with. And I think everybody on Wall Street knows that too. The only people that don't know about it are the people that keep talking about it, are the retail investors, because I don't think they have the understanding of how it works.
So you have a conference call with GTII?
No, I do not.
Okay.
I met a gentleman this morning that has a business plan that he wants to put into GTI. There's about 4 companies that want to do it, but until they clean it up, nothing can happen. I can't do anything to that. But there's always opportunities. So the opportunity is going to come from GTI. I just don't know the date.
Somebody here said he's been away. What the heck happened to GTII? You know what? If you don't care about your investment, I don't care about
Hey,
yours.
listen.
I don't care about your investment.
Bill, Richard Hoffman has put up 100 videos about it. Go look at it. If you think it's over, it's not.
He didn't say that. He's been away for months, and so he's wondering what happened to GTII.
It's all right. And listen, just go listen to Richard Hoffman. He'll tell you everything about it. He'll bring you up to speed immediately.
What I recommend, Quentin, is when you invest, go away for months and ignore it. That's how I recommend you invest in things.
Right.
Anyway.
All right, listen, William, let's
That's-
sign off. You,
all right.
you know, I don't want to get you aggravated, but again,
All right.
all the information's right here. We're not going away. Even through surgery, sickness, we're still here. And again, at the end of the day, Lynn Partners is on the hook. The phone records, the wire transfers, everything about them, their broker network, they're going to be exposed. They're going to get roasted. They're going to jail. That's it. They're notorious short sellers versus the notes. They're toxic notes. That's what they do. I don't know why they're not proud of it. They should be. I can be proud of it. But they're hiding. Don't worry about them. They're going to get their days coming. We traded 38,000 shares, 1,720,000. The real short data comes out today. Well, they show 1,720,000. Has anyone seen them cover? I haven't, and I watch it all day long. All right, everybody, I got to go on another call at 1:30. I'm going to catch my breath, but hang in there. And if any questions, I'm always on Twitter. Reach out, and I'll answer. All right?
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Call ended.
Hey, big boy. You're very stinky. But you smell good. You smell good. I'm going to miss that smell when you're gone. I know. I will miss it. I will miss that smell. I will miss that smell. Several of you were I would guess DJT will come back. DJT is under pressure because the system wants Trump to be broke. So my guess is the Fed, the Treasury, big hedge funds are selling DJT down to keep him broke, number one. Number two, the restriction period came off the stock, so I think a lot of people are selling it down because they expect people who have been in the stock for years to need to liquidate, to pay their mortgage, to pay whatever, so they keep the stock price down, so they sell it down with counterfeit shares, and then people sell real shares. They buy those back. And then the final reason is I believe that people think that Trump will not be president because there is going to be an event which prevents his very existence. So that's what I think is going on with DJT. You could also argue that Twitter is better than DJT. I don't know. It's run by a woman who comes from Facebook or anyway, she comes from one of these other platforms, and she is restrictive, whereas Elon Musk is not restrictive. She is restrictive. My understanding of Truth Social, it's a more honest platform, but who knows? I think the stock doesn't look like it's going up, but that's usually a time you can accumulate a position. You can buy calls out 3 months instead of 1 month with gambling money, and you might be surprised what happens. But it doesn't look good. That stock doesn't look good on any kind of a chart. Yeah, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. So a bunch of people, let's see, are asking about silver stocks. There aren't a lot of stocks that focus solely on silver. There are some, but there's not a lot. The one, if you don't own it, you know what? Let me see if I can pull up some. Let's just see if I can do it. let's see. Yeah, here we go. I have to go to this, I have to go here to get a, okay, so I've got to mute there, turn this down, enter studio, and I'll enter. Okay, I'm entered. All right, mic is muted. All right, this one right here, look at it, it's up. Wheaton Precious Metals. If you don't own this, this used to be a silver mining stock, not mining, streaming. They gave money to silver companies to get revenue streams, but you got to own this stock. Another one you need to own is, when I say you need to own them, you don't need to own them all. Look, this is going to be the biggest run you've ever seen. Somebody else said here they're keeping, let me see if this is still the symbol. This one here, let's see the news. Guess it doesn't have any news. Anyway, this is Endeavor Mining. This is Rick Rule's favorite mining stock for risk reward. But Stephen Lieb also likes it. But I think if you don't own, let me see the symbol FND. I think Franco Nevada. Wow, look at that price. You don't like that price, do you? All right, let's look at another one. Hecla Mining is another one. They have silver. 707. The high, they're all breaking out. The 52 range, look at that, $7. Pretty amazing. So one other thing you can do is you can just Google I don't think you need to just make sure it's only the junior miners, the small miners are all so low, it doesn't matter what you buy. I like Pan American Silver. I like First Majestic Silver. I already showed you Hecla. I like Wheaton Precious Metals. I like this Fresnillo. I don't know a lot about it. I don't know much about Endeavor Silver Corp. But here's a list that's probably I'd say the one I'd buy just for silver, First Majestic. Wheaton Precious Metals is awesome, but it's already well priced. This Fresnillo, this is one that Dr. Stephen Lieb likes. Let's see what it says. Mexican precious metals. Let's see what it says. You can almost buy anything, by the way. Fresnillo. It's a mid-sized mine. It's a British company. It produces a lot of silver along with gold. In coming years, this is according to Dr. Lieb, in coming years, silver is the one commodity likely to give gold a run for the money. You get it? It's a bit of a pun. Silver's history as a monetary metal and a store of value extends even further back than gold's. Some 4,000 years ago in ancient Greece, silver became the first metal to be used in trade. Since then, silver coins have often been legal tender, and countries, including the United States, have used silver to back paper money. Silver has a lot in common with gold, but is less rare and more easily tarnished. That's like Kim Kardashian's reputation. It's also less dense. This bears on silver's suitability as a monetary metal because it means that silver takes up more space than gold, which matters when you talk about storage. An ounce of silver requires twice as much room as an ounce of gold. As of this writing, and this was written a while ago, but it's true currently too, an ounce of gold is worth 80 times an ounce of silver, which is enough to put gold in a different class as a monetary metal. When investors focus on monetary issues, gold can get an enormous premium over silver, as is the case today. Silver also differs from gold beyond being less dense. In having important industrial uses, silver is the world's best thermal and electric conductor and plays a key role in areas ranging from medicine, in killing bacteria, for example, to solar energy. This industrial role, where silver often has no ready substitutes, works against it as a monetary metal relative to gold because it means that some silver gets destroyed. In contrast, gold, whose few industrial uses can be easily performed by other metals, does not get used up. It's thought, this is according to Dr. Stephen Lieb, it's thought that almost every ounce of gold that has been mined still exists on the face of the earth, unless you count in the Anunnaki. But it is thought that almost every ounce of gold that has been mined in the history we know about still exists on the face of the earth. Being fixed in quantity is exactly what you want in a monetary metal. All this said, silver will continue to be seen as a store of value to be prized in jewelry, and its simultaneous leverage to monetary inflation and industrial demand makes silver unique. When gold prices are rising, silver prices often rise more quickly, especially if industrial scarcities come into focus, which is about to happen. Just think of all that AI, all the computers, all the phones, all the missiles. When gold corrects, silver tends to fall further. Since 1975, when the first post-war gold bull market took off, gold has doubled silver's performance. However, when gold was rising, silver was the only metal to come close to gold's gains, and at times, silver exceeded gold's gains. All of this is to say, it would be nice to have a solid stake in silver. So this company, Fresnillo, Fresnillo, FNLPF, FNLPF. It's $8 stock. Wow. I like stocks that aren't at their highs. Year to date, it's at its high, but in its history, it's still pretty cheap. It was once a $25 stock. All right, so Fresnillo offers a way to get in on silver on the cheap. Headquartered in London, it has mines in Mexico that make it the world's largest silver producer. Silver accounts for 35% of Fresnillo's production. That's as of 2021. But I assume it's still the same. Gold, and Fresnillo is Mexico's largest gold producer, accounts for more than 50% of Fresnillo's production, with lead and zinc for the remainder. The company offers investors a spectacular buying opportunity. The shares fell sharply in mid-2019 when the company reported that projects to boost production at 2 of its 7 mines were taking longer to complete than expected. Production fell by 10%. So it was valued at $6 billion. Where is it now? Still $6 billion. Look at that. So he thinks it is a tremendous opportunity. The stock price being down spoke more to investors' focus on short term rather than anything really problematic going on at Fresnillo. The company has a strong record of delivering solid gains in production, and its longer-term prospects remain intact. The company attributes the delay in its growth projects to infrastructure issues, which should be resolved. Now, I can't tell if they already are. It says here by 2020, but here we are in 2024, and the stock really, when he wrote this, published this, the stock was here, and it's still there. Do you see that? It's a good, I really like Dr. Stephen Lee, by the way. He's a smart cookie. At the end of 2018, Fresnillo had attributable resources of 2.2 billion ounces of silver and 39 million ounces of gold. This puts Fresnillo in the same class as mines with valuations several times higher. These numbers don't take into account the many additional exploratory opportunities for the company, not only in Mexico, but also in Peru and Chile. In a bull market in gold and silver, this first-class producing miner offers potential gains that nearly match those of many well-positioned junior mines. In other words, this isn't a junior mine, which has more risk. Over the next decade, a 10-fold gain would not be a surprise. So he's predicting it goes to $80, Fresnillo. His favorite big cap miners are Newmont and Barrick and Franco-Nevada. But now let me just tell you something about ETFs. There's really five gold ETFs. The Sprott Gold Miners ETF, SDGM. Let's look at some charts of these. Maybe if you see the charts, you'll see that these are breaking out. Maybe you'll see that. All right, so let's put in GDX. Look at that. Let's go 5 years, since that's what the free subscription gives. All right, so for 5 years, this is good news for you. For 5 years, it hasn't really broken out. See that? That's GDX. That's the Van Eck Vectors Gold Miners ETF. So for 5 years, we've been in this bear market, just down, 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 rally, and then collapse, rally, and then just boring sideways. But since the beginning of this year, gold's been up, and look at it. So if it goes above $43, I think it's going a lot higher. Anyway, so that is the Van Eck Vectors Gold Miners. That's the big miners. The GDXJ, this is the junior gold miners. Let's go to 5 years. This looks great. It's breaking out. It is breaking out. Now, in practice, this doesn't really have that many junior gold miners. They end up having a lot of the big companies. But look at it at high. Oh, I got to hit annotate. Look at the high. See, you're still getting in these things with time for them to break out. Now, when they get up to these highs, they'll pull back. But when they break out, they'll go to all-time highs. This GDXJ is the Van Eck Junior Miners. And now, his favorite small stocks, I think I told you this last time, Endeavor, which I just mentioned to you. Let's see if it's still here. We'll do better on all this. We'll keep a list of these stocks. EDV. EDVMF. There. It's Pink Sheets. Wow. So this is Dr. Lee, one of his favorites. And I would say that these are all set for huge breakouts. Huge breakouts. Endeavor Mining is headquartered in Australia and operates in Western Africa. Rick Rule points out that because it's Western Africa, people see Endeavor as a risk, but he sees it as a really cheap asset. Western Africa has been growing at a breakneck pace. It's grown by 80% over the last 15 years. Endeavor stands out for consistently beating expectations for production and for new mining discoveries. All four of its major mines have been producing. Results so far have exceeded projections, with gold production rising at a solid and sustainable rate. With mineable gold at Endeavor could approach 25 million ounces. The company is deeply undervalued. All right, that's one. And then he also likes Nova Gold, which I've told you about before. All right, I'm boring you by now. I'm boring you. Let's see how these stocks are trading. Let me just look. Let's go through some of our stocks. And then I'll sign off. This is a 1 year. All I can point out here is the gap at this level, somewhere around $16. The stock's at $2. I would argue it has probably broken some kind of support there, which you would say is not a good thing. But I'd also suggest to you, this is logic, that this is the shorts trying to panic you. That's one interpretation. Another interpretation would be right here, that is support. And so it's in a trading range. That's what I would be more inclined to go with. The 20-day, 50-day, and 200-day moving averages are all sort of clustered in here. No one listens to me, and I know people have lost money in logic and they've had their heart broken, but it's all in the press. I mean, it's been announced. They're going to put together 6 or 7 deals worth, let's call it 800 million. What the press release says is greater than 750 million. I don't know, maybe 751 million. And if they do it within the number of shares that 15% belonging to us would create, it's a 40, 50 cent stock. it's trading at 3 cents. Well, no, it's trading at 2 cents, but no one wants to hear it. If some of this stuff gets announced, that's a place where you might be able to get out. You buy it at 2, sell at 16. Or better yet, up here, try to sell it at 25. Anyway, that's logic, and I think that's worth the trade. Here's one of Logic's sisters, and they just announced they sold their website. They just announced that. What does that mean? I don't know. We'll find out, right? But you've got something like this going on. So you remember, fat fingers, use fat fingers. This doesn't have to be exactly right. But you've got a trading range in one sense. In another, you've got this breakout at 250. And then I would say it could go to $8 roughly there, $7.58 if it breaks out from 250 and pulls back probably, because that would be 1, 2, 3, pull back, and then 4 maybe. And then I would say somewhere between here, sort of 18, and maybe my battery just ran out. I know I have more, so hang on. I'll go get some batteries. Hey, boy. I love you, boy. I love you. All right, there we go. Maybe not. Maybe not. Okay, there we go. All right, so that's that one. And then I don't know if this is going to give you any ideas. I don't see anything I can tell you there. I don't really see anything I can tell you there. That's T-low, 9. 9 is the breakout, approximately 9. Let's do DJT. God, that looks awful. Luckily, it can't go lower than the bottom of the page, right? It all looks awful. This gap is right there with that price. It's at an extreme though. I would say one could argue that this is some sort of declining wedge. I don't know, I might be pushing the analogy. But maybe this should go up here. I think that's going to snap back like a son of a bitch. That's what I think. I don't know when, but I think it's going to snap back hugely. Big league. Big league snapback all the way back to 23. It's going to have one of these kind of rallies over here, I think. But I can't explain to you why I feel that way. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you there. I don't know what to tell you. This is looking better. Look at that. This is collective audience. This is where it got noticed that the NASDAQ was going to dump it. And the CEO said, "Oh, fine. You don't want us? We'll stay on the over the counter." And look how it's traded since then. That's genius. Absolute genius. Absolute genius. This rising wedge is not a bullish pattern, by the way. But let's not draw it that way. Why don't we draw it this way? And then it's a pennant. And if it breaks through here, it goes to 70 cents. If it goes through 70 cents, I'd say this is your next stop. $2. I'm surprised that I'm saying that, but that's what I think. All right. So let's I don't know what else to tell you guys about. So let me go back to here it is. Okay, let me get this off of there. And then let me read if there's any comments. Hi, I hear you. You're impatient? You're impatient with me? Okay. Hey, Brian. Hey, Julie. I think that's a good idea. The only reason to own miners is if they significantly outperform the metals. Else, better own the real stuff. It's far less risky. Miners do not outperform the metals. Chart miners priced in metals. Well, I don't know. Peter may or may not have a good point, and certainly looking backwards, it's been a bear market. But my number one recommendation is owning physical silver. Physical silver. You can do that in tradable assets. But let me give you an example, just because I know the numbers. They closed the offering, or at least I believe it's closed, so I can talk about it. But I don't agree with Peter, and I think Peter's talking about bear markets, not bull markets. I'm just going to use this as an example because it's the one I know off the top of my head. But if you were to buy 10th, and the reason I'm using it is to show that miners can give you leverage. It's not for any other reason than that. If you put $10,000 into gold, physical gold right now, you'd buy 4 ounces of gold. $10,000 would buy 4 ounces of gold. Now, Peter would tell you that's going to move and do better than miners. And if you price miners in gold, you'll see that. And that may be, I don't want to go, maybe that's a study I'll do on my own rather than boring you. But I'm sure he's probably right during this bear market. But here's what a miner can do. And when you get smart people like Peter who know the industry negative on miners, that's usually when, if you want to be in the space, that's usually when to buy. It's when Peter turns positive on miners, and I'm sorry to pick on Peter, but when he turns positive on miners, that's when you need to sell. It's just human nature. But anyway, this little company that I told you all about, that same $10,000 would buy, and I'm going to use the fully diluted. It looks like they'll be fully funded. No, that's the wrong. Okay, so oh, I know what I need to do. Okay. This is on the low end of the potential. And it's just an example. It's just to prove my point. If you buy physical gold, you control 4 ounces. In this little stock that I told you guys, introduced you guys, on the low end of their reserves, you control 3,400 ounces. So the same $10,000 gives you the upside of 3,000 ounces of gold. And as the market starts to recognize that, these miners will behave much better than gold. But where I agree with Peter is gold will move first. I think silver's going to have a massive catch-up rally. When silver breaks through $48, it'll double in price. And then pull back, and then silver, according to David Hunter, is going to $500 over the next sort of short-term cycle. I don't know, 2 years or something. Gold, he thinks, is going to go to I think he said 20. Here, I wrote it down. I did it over the weekend, so I just have to find it. Oh, I know. It was on a pad of paper. Yeah. He believes gold is going to go to $20,000 and silver is going to go to 500. That's an 8x on gold, 8x, and his target for silver is 16x. Peter is correct. These are, I can't, on a risk-reward basis, I think these are the greatest gains out there for you. But what happens when gold gets to 20,000? Then what do? Now, if gold were to get to 20,000 and you had 4 ounces, your 10 grand turns into 80,000. In the case of this little story, if they sold the company at $100 an ounce, $10,000 is going to turn into $340,000. Now, those are projections. I'm just trying to make a point. Miners give you massive exposure to the upside. What Peter hasn't experienced, probably in his whole lifetime, is a bull market in mining shares. It's been a bear. It has just been a bear. And I think that's going to change. But he's right. He's right. The first place to be is in the metals themselves. I agree with that. I think the Sprott asset physical trusts are the best places to be. Yeah, there's the Sprott Asset Management, the physical silver trust. There's a gold trust. I think they have a platinum or palladium one as well. If you do gold, you're in the camp that gold is safer than silver, because that's what you've been told by the media and advisors. And you're also, it's what you've experienced. It's what you've experienced for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. Silver is much more volatile than gold. But silver is going, my opinion, it's going to get back to 10 to 1. It's at 80 to 1 right now, 10 to 1. 10 ounces of silver for 1 ounce of gold in price. But I think it's going to go 1 for 1. So if you're not looking for predictability and so-called safety, I think silver is the place to be. Silver, I do not believe is going to stay under $48 for very much longer. I think this year, silver will head to $75, $80, then pull back to $50 next year. But I think this is going to be your last opportunity to buy silver under $48, $50. And for the whole cycle. I could be wrong. You could get a spike, but I think that's going to be the case. With gold, everybody's buying gold. Central banks are buying gold. But I wonder if there's a coordination, as long as China is still trying to accumulate a position in gold, if there's a coordination to hold gold at 3,000, 3,600, 3,300. And that's, what is that from here? 20%? In other words, I think silver is going to double or triple by January. Now it'll be up and then it'll come back down. It'll be volatile. But if you're trying to establish a position, you got to do it while no one's really noticing. And right now, everyone's talking gold, gold. Same theory as Peter has. Don't do the miners. The metals are safer. That's a mentality, and I'm being respectful, I hope. But that's a mentality that dollars have value. Dollars have no value. Fiat currency has no value. They're just a transitory mechanism to move from one asset category to another. Anyway, let me stop there with that thought. Diversification in the long run wins over concentration. Tell that to George Soros. He put it all on the British pound. Tell that to Rockefeller. Tell that to Rockefeller. He put it all on what became Exxon, Standard Oil. Never sold a share. Tell that to Bezos, the other guy and the other guy and the other guy in all these stocks. I just don't agree with you on that. Diversification keeps you with the masses. And as a roommate of mine used to say, the masses are asses. If you want to stay with where you are and you're happy with it, yeah, diversify. But if you have limited assets, a limited account, I don't know, you got 10 grand. You diversify. All right, in 5 years, you got 30 grand. The power of diversification. Your stockbroker who told you to diversify, and then she diversified all of her accounts, her book went up by that ratio, double, triple over 5 years. So her fees, her annual fees are stable. She didn't take any risk. But the person, as like the example I just gave you, and I'm not pitching it at all. As far as I know, that deal is closed. But 10,000 in 3 years could be worth $400,000. That's one position. So I don't agree, but that's just philosophical. Once you're wealthy, once you have all you need, diversify. Once you have all you need, you've got to diversify. You've got to own some gold, some horses, some water, some silver, some land, some apartment buildings, some oil and gas, some Bitcoin, various stock positions, treasuries now probably, but later on, some other, whatever replaces government debt. Once you're well off, diversify. But the only way you're going to change your financial position is to study something, learn it, and concentrate in it. Now, I'm not saying you have to put all your eggs in one basket, but you can heavily weight your portfolio toward one play that you know about, or one idea, like I'm saying, silver. But you can have the other things there, but there will come a time where you push it a little bit. And I'd say right now, silver, is the only asset. John Poisson will tell you that platinum, it's true of platinum. But I think silver is the only asset out there which has not participated in the everything bubble. Every other asset out there is up. There's a couple you could argue haven't. US, Northern American natural gas is one of the cheapest assets in the world. But if you go over to Europe, it's not so cheap. So I don't know how to measure that one. But that's transportation. I don't know. I would say fresh water is cheap because we basically, it's free, so we pollute it. But at some point, people are going to realize that the planet doesn't have that much excess fresh water, clean water. That'll get expensive someday. Anyway, you can get really complicated studying assets, but I would say the preponderance of assets out there, silver's the one that has not gotten to new highs. Maybe platinum, palladium, maybe uranium. But gold has, there's no bubble in gold. There's no bubble in gold. Real estate, college educations, DEI, doctorates in DEI, these have all gotten overpriced. Anyway, everything's cyclical. Platinum is undervalued in my opinion. It's rarer than gold. Yeah, so platinum, I just don't have a story. Platinum is a place to put money. Uranium's probably a place to put money. I don't like nuclear power, although I met a guy in Denver. Apparently there are these small fusion plants coming on that are not a waste risk, but if we were getting real news out of Fukushima Daiichi, I think the whole world would be petrified by nuclear power. But anyway, let's not go off from that. All right, so I don't know. It sounds like everyone has stopped listening. Let me see if there's any news. I'll tell you, there's two assets to short out there. J-Lo is going to hit new lows, and Kim Kardashian going to hit new lows. Listen to this. U.S. military will intervene on behalf of Israel if Iran enters the fray. Thank God Trump's not in office. I mean, if Trump were in office, we'd be almost in World War III. It would be frightening. But thank God we've got adults in office, and we're not even close to World War III. Things are under control. Well, what's this article? Too complicated. Too complicated. Let's summarize. The U.S. economy is completely dependent on one thing, the top 10% front-running everyone, front-running the Fed stimulus. So front-running the front-runners is the sole support of growth. Those holding index funds, diversification, convinced that stocks always go up 8% a year over time. That's not true. Will be bag holders because causal conditions have changed. The smart money has been selling to retail, enthralled by the statistics. 20 years out of 20, we can't lose. And those buying index funds and holding index funds, because it's worked so well since around 2009. The everything bubble. Total assets held by the top 1%. $20 trillion. It's a lot of quid. That is a lot of quid. China appears to be in trouble. A couple of you guys have pointed that out. Young people are voting for Harris, according to the Daily Hate. I think it's a fake poll. All right, we'll end on this. What do you think the 5 most common regrets people have on their deathbeds? I should have asked that little redheaded girl out. All right, let's see what they are. Oh, they don't list them. Oh, here they are. The biggest regrets: not spending enough time with the people they love, working too much, letting fear control their decisions and not taking enough risks, not being brave in the face of uncertainty or opportunity, focusing too much on the future and losing touch with the present. All right, I think I've run out of things to talk about. My copper mine produces 300% every day. Well, I think copper is another metal to own. I think all the metals are going to be going up, and that reminds me, let me see if I can find it. There was an article I would have read to you yesterday. Let me see if it's still close. If it's still something, I might have read it to you already. Let me see if I can find it on metals. But I like copper, Delta, very much. But I think copper is going to run up now, as everything is. But then I think it's going to have a sharp pullback, because there's going to be, what's going to make the markets run up is a common lie. Oh, the Fed did this correctly. Interest rates are coming down. The economy's doing great. Kamala Harris is a genius. And we're going to have a soft landing. I think next year is going to be a hard landing. And anyway, I think copper is going to be volatile, is all I'm saying. But I love copper. I love copper. Don't get me wrong. Okay, I probably can't find this article. Darn it. So I should print articles out so that I don't lose them. And I have lost this one. All right, let me look one more place. Let me look one more place. Gold, silver, copper futures explode overnight. Is silver next? so I can't find the article. But basically, it was on all metals. I'll try to find it. Before next time. But anyway, it's on all metals, and I'm for all metals. All metals. Fukushima is not comparable. Nobody builds nukes like that anymore. Well, there's enough of them built that way. They took the it was either Westinghouse or I don't think it was Bechtel, but they took the design of a nuclear power engine of a submarine, and they just made it bigger. And so they put the waste storage on top of each of the four, well, there's 6 of them there. Fukushima Daiichi had 6 reactors, but 4 of them a complete meltdown, apparently. Nobody knows for sure. 3 definitely, but it looks like the 4th as well. But they put the waste on top. So when they exploded, the waste went all over Japan, went all over the Pacific Ocean, and the reactor number 3 was Moxie fuel. So it was reprocessed weapons grade waste. And the kind of radiation that was created has never been underneath our atmosphere ever. And we have no protection against it. Animals don't, birds don't. We can't even sense it, but it's lethal. The other thing they did at Fukushima, and I think it was Bechtel, they found an 80 or 90 foot wall of rock, and they destroyed it. They brought the plant down to sea level. And they went ahead and built it over an earthquake zone. They built it over a river, underground river that came from the mountains when it rained. And this is the genius of American capitalism matched with Japanese need for energy. So when the tsunami hit off the coast of Japan, and they use a different measurement, I don't remember. We use, I forget what we call our earthquake measurement, Richter scale. They use a different one. And it sounds less, but in fact it's more. And so this earthquake off of Fukushima was massive, like 10 on the Richter scale. And it was 8 something on their scale, to my memory. And it doesn't matter, even at 8 on the Richter scale, it causes a tsunami. Well, the nature's protection, which was this massive granite wall, had been taken down by the capitalists and the geniuses to save money. They did not have backup power. They had a few batteries on the same level, but they didn't, and generators on the same level, but the tsunami knocked those out. So they didn't have backup power because they're geniuses. And when the earthquake came and the tsunami came, I think it was the reactor number 4. The fuel cells were out of the core because they were replacing them. But the other 3 overheated, and maybe that one did eventually. I've now heard all 4 melted down. But each of these reactors were 3 times the size. Each of these reactors are 3 times the size of Chernobyl. Chernobyl melted down 1/3 These were 100% meltdowns, and they exploded. And the radiation went into the air, went into the surrounding countryside. And what Japan did is they started spraying seawater on the corium, which reacts with the melted cores that they can't find, and it sends radioactive spray and mist up into the troposphere, which comes across to the United States every 3 to 4 days. And it's been doing that every day since March 11th, 2011. Barack Obama said we're safe. Hillary Clinton told all of her staff to stay indoors for a few days, if not weeks. And Barack Obama said the only thing you had to do was stay educated. Well, Japan made it illegal to take pictures, to post news stories, and you never read about it in the American press. You never read about Fukushima Daiichi. The first American victim of Fukushima Daiichi, I wish I used to have a file, I've lost it, was a young cheerleader in California. She died because one buckyball got in her lungs. She had a heart attack. But you don't read about it. You don't read about it. As Dr. Helen Caldicott, Australian doctor, said, the solution for pollution when it comes to radiation is not dilution. It's not dilution, because the little animals are eaten by bigger fish and bigger fish and bigger fish, and it concentrates in our salmon, our tuna, and we eat those. And then it's in our bloodstream. And the tragedy of Fukushima Daiichi is that the northern hemisphere is exposed to this radiation through the atmosphere, and there's just no way to escape it. We all are. It's in our milk, it's in our wheat products, it's the western coast of Canada. There's parts of it where all the starfish and all the birds and all the insects are gone, but no one cares because we're in a world of P. Diddy and Kim Kardashian and illusion of wealth. So anyway, I think Fukushima is an extinction level event, and the southern hemisphere may for a while be better than the northern hemisphere, because the two atmospheres are separate, but eventually the seas will spread it. You won't read about any of this, because if people panic and they sell their properties in California and Hawaii, it'll cause a bank run. So you'll never read about it. But it's just I guess it's just something to be aware of. I don't know what we can do about it. I really don't. But 400 elephants a day, worth of radioactive water pours into the Pacific Ocean from Fukushima Daiichi. And that's every day since March 11th, 2011. And that's what we know about. That's what we know about. The Japanese have poured tritium-laced water into our seas, and we say, oh, the sun gives you less radiation than that. Well, it's a whole different kind of radiation. And then they say, the horrible thing, the United States has dumped barrels of waste into the sea. Russia does it up north of, or northeast east of St. Petersburg. Their waste is legion, but it's in the UK as well. Chernobyl, Dr. Helen Caldicott says you shouldn't eat any food from most of Europe. Tea, fish, anything. But how do you do it? We've got to live. We've got to live. And I don't know the answer, but I think nuclear power is frightening. But Matthew, I will say that at this conference, I met a gentleman who I really liked very much, and his technology might be an answer. He can process waste, nuclear waste, and it's fusion, not fission, and it's small scale. So there may be answers out there, but I'm petrified of nuclear power. Petrified. I used to be, kind of for it. But the other thing Dr. Caldicott said, she said if the reactor number 4, building number 4, ever collapsed, and I think that's what happened. They had another earthquake and the building collapsed. She said if that ever melted down along with the other 3, she had children in Boston, she'd fly them back to Australia. And what's scary about Japan is about a year ago, there was another massive earthquake on the eastern side of the island. And I'd have to look it up, but there was, the land went up 80 feet. And sure enough, right there was another nuclear power plant, which I think had 8 reactors. That's my memory. You didn't hear a peep. Didn't hear a peep in the press. But it's impossible that those reactors survived. So I don't think nuclear power is safe from the get-go. Is it called Westfield? From the western coast of the United Kingdom in the 50s to massive waste in South Carolina and Washington State, to 3 Mile Island, to Chernobyl, to Fukushima, and I know I'm missing some others. There was a huge waste problem, a leak in the hills of California. Every 5 to 7 years, there's an accident. It's not safe. Anyway, you don't want to hear my thoughts on that. So diversifying doesn't mean you buy every bit of shit. Do your homework, find good assets. Well, I think that's right, Peter. I don't think you can stay educated on probably more than a dozen companies. You might be if you're an avid reader. And you certainly can stay educated if you don't read the mainstream media, but you try to branch out into other sources of information. And then you can treat different asset classes like 6 stocks. That's not real diversification, So you have stocks, you have precious metals, you have real estate, you have land, you own an apple orchard, whatever. You buy prized llamas from Peru. The llama is a quadruped. The llama is a quadruped. My 18-year-old son registered in the military, making you nervous. Well, Julie, my 18-year-old niece just went, just whatever freshman, but it's called something else, at the United States Naval Academy. And I'm proud of her. She's a sweetheart, but it does make you nervous. Julie, all I can say is if we have a change in administration, we're not going to go to war. But if Anthony Blinken and the neocons and Victoria Nuland are still in power, we're going to be at war. But it's funny, Julie, we're not going to be safe. We think we're safe, but we're not going to be this time. Modern nukes are pebble beds that are fail subcritical. Well, pardon me for not believing that, but that's what I've heard. Dr. Jim Hansen wrote a book, The Storms of My Grandchildren. The Storms of My Grandchildren. He was the senior guy at Goddard. There's a Goddard College, but it's Goddard something facility, space and atmosphere. It's right up Route 50 on the way to Baltimore, and he would speak truth to power about climate change, and he's petrified by climate change. But anyway, Matthew, skipping to the end of his book, which I commend to your reading, he said there's 4 solutions. One, and this is number 1 in my book, leave the remaining coal in the ground. Do not burn any more coal. Leave the coal in the ground, number 1. Number 2, stop burning down the trees. Stop destroying the jungle. And the other, we have forests and prairies. Stop destroying nature's ability to produce oxygen and process carbon and other gases. Stop destroying trees. Number 3 was all the small things, like that crappy corn-based fuel, solar power, wind power, conservation, hydroelectric, all of the small pieces. That was number 3. Number 4 was what you're talking about, 4th generation nuclear power. That's what he said. Call me skeptical. I don't trust the nuclear power industry, but my understanding is, Matthew, you are correct, that these smaller plants do not melt down. What concerns me, they must have waste, and there's going to be more of them. They're going to be everywhere. But maybe that's just our future. And then the Earth will take, when you say a half-life of one what do you call them? There's a name for each particle. When you say one of these has a half-life of 10 years, well, that means half of it's still there after 10 years. So another 10 years to go by, and it's a half-life. Another 10 years. Most of this stuff is forever as far as human beings are concerned. Eat dandelion tea, and the orange turmeric. Make sure you use turmeric. Every penny with 95% copper is 0.03, but I only paid 0.01. So you sort them? That's pretty cool. That's great. Apparently there's an article in the New York Times about pennies. Copper silver price ratio in a well-defined range for 3,000 years. Well, miners are under control. Yeah, I would agree, Peter. I'd put 75 grand into a great silver company, and it's been destroyed by short sellers. So I guess you're right. Failed subcritical reactors do not need backup power. They will cool off when the support equipment is removed. Well, that sounds like a good idea. My father used to design them, so he knows it intimately. I don't know anything, I must admit, other than studying it, listening to people. And your father knows all of that, but 3 Mile Island happened anyway. Chernobyl happened because I guess a couple of cowboys decided to test something and it blew up. Suffield, is it called Suffield in the UK? Massive and all hidden. And then there's, anyway. The price to pay when human beings make a mistake is very high. Nobody builds new rod sleeve reactors anymore. How about China? Is China doing that? I don't know. It's been that way since Chernobyl. You can date wine based on the radiation content. That's funny, Matthew. Once I understood what happened, I stopped drinking Californian red wine, and everyone thought I was crazy. Of course, it's just a matter of delay. I mean, it doesn't, but I would drink South African wine or Australian wine or Virginian wine. But the fact is, it didn't, it just delayed the ultimate effect. But yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. The Earth's core is a giant nuke, and it dumps radioactive metals into the sea via C4 steam vents. I don't know, Matthew. Yes, maybe that's true that it dumps the metals, but I think there may be life forms down there. The Earth has had time to come into balance with that kind of dumping, as you put it. I don't think the Earth adapts well to 400 tons of radioactive water going into the sea every day and into the atmosphere. But then we dropped bombs in the Pacific, and it seems to have recovered, but it's a huge experiment, and who knows what happens. You have to go down the generations to see what happens. It's not just 1 or 2 generations. No, I won't give you any discussion on GTII. And if you haven't paid attention to it for a year, why should I bother giving you an update? Richard Hoffman, not legal advice. You can get updates from him. Well, that's interesting. I think one thing that could cause extinction, and Peter, it'll offend people, and I have no problem with it, but we're building our society here in the United States. 65-70% of doctor degrees, lawyers, are women, and careers are women. The future is female. That's fine. It's fine. It's fine. But without thinking about intelligence, and without thinking about rights, and without thinking about fairness or anything like that, as a species, if the female part of the species stops having children and takes on the roles over unfairly, I'm not trying to say it's fair, but over thousands of years, totally unfair, that men are bigger, stronger, but that we all know women do things better, and they can lead better, and they can have more power, they're smarter, and they can do anything. Okay, that's fine. But how does a species replace its population? Men can't do it. Men can't do it. So when a species used to have, I don't know, 2 to 7 children per family, and now families don't even occur. And now when a educated woman has a child, she's in her mid to late 30s, 1 child. Anyway, I'm not trying to judge it. I'm not saying we should go back. I'm just saying that could lead to a total collapse in human population. And then how does society protect itself? It could be a collapse. Anyway, it's decades away, and it's just an idea, and it's probably wrong. Risk aversion, you're right, but risk when you know that I had an analyst came into my office at Morgan Stanley, and he said to me that all the nuclear waste could fit in a file cabinet. And I said, really? Doesn't sound right. And it isn't right. But when you know the risk comes, it's not risk anymore. It's a result. But I hear you. Maybe there's new methodologies. And I told you, Dr. Hansen, Jim Hansen, that's one of his solutions for the future. I would love, Peter, to study, because I think there was a civilization before Christ. There was a civilization before Moses, before the Buddha. You know, why do I think that? I guess it's all the monoliths. It's all the huge structures we can't build anymore. Somebody built them. But what I would love to study and learn what energy they used, because they didn't use oil and gas, and they didn't use coal, and it doesn't look like they used nuclear. My suspicion is they used sound, or they used the magnetic power of the earth itself. But I'd love to find out. I'd love to find out what power they used. As thermal power plants are needed, we let nukes run for 50 or more years. That's actually that's a good point. But the people that built those plants made the profit up front. They're not profitable. It's another thing where the profit went to a few and the risks went to the many and the costs went to the many. That's a good point. We stopped improving, stopped upgrading. It's a valid point. And apparently they're going to turn what's it called? Indian head? Indian. Anyway, they're going to turn that power plant on the Hudson back on for AI. That's pretty scary. I'm no nuclear science. But I did stay at the Holiday Inn Express. Hotel, motel, Holiday Inn. If you don't have a girl, you can bring your friend. What was that song? The Double Deck Bus. Hotel, motel, Holiday Inn. Hotel, motel, Holiday Inn. You see if your girl starts acting up, then you take her friend. I say hotel, motel, Holiday Inn. You see if your girl starts acting up, then you take her friend. Come on, you beezy, it's time to split. I'm kinda lit and I'm trying to hit. While you sitting here wasting time, I got 3 on deck waiting in line. Plus Ronald Reagan can't be begging. Let me put the 3rd leg in before I start waving. Be choosy, wait for a cutie. Get home, he don't want you to play with that booty. Catch a fruity, then catch me a stooty. I'll be getting jaw puffing on a doobie with Ruby, your ex-best friend, rubbing the hairs of my chinny chin. Whatever. All I remember is hotel, motel, Holiday Inn. Wow. Coal dumps 1,000 more radioactive metals than the average yearly output of all nuke disasters. The only one thing about nuke is we have some defenses against some radioactive materials, like they'll say bananas, but most nuclear power plants create brand new isotopes. And it's aerialized. Ugh. Nuke waste is no more dangerous than nuke ore. I don't know. You know better than I do, but Moxie fuel blowing up is bloody dangerous. They dilute it down with rock. They just passed that all males between 18 and 25 had to register. It's mandatory. I hope they do that for the 20 million people that just joined our country. And it's all males. It's not females. I guess the females will run the country while the men go off and fight, I guess. I mean, I think the men should be the ones fighting because I'm sorry to hear that, Julie. That's cyclical, isn't it? I grew up and there was no draft. Nixon had canceled it. That's terrible. I hope we don't go to war. And if we do go to war, it's not going to last long. Operator error. That's it. Operator error. Spaceballs, the Coca-Cola. Russian nuke plants don't have containment domes. You know, and then we're bombing in Ukraine. They have some of the world's largest nuclear power plants, and they're Russian designed. Anyway, you got to leave some of that to God, because I can't fix it. You just can't fix human stupidity. All right, it's coming up on 3 o'clock. I guess I'll stop there. Let's see if any stock has done anything exciting. No. Fingers up 2 cents at 215. Logic's up 0.0001. All right, everybody. Sorry to keep you on so long. Thank you for watching. Pray for peace. Pray for the children. Pray for sane thinking. It looks like Joe Biden made a good decision if the reports are correct, and he said no to sending missiles into Russia. So thank God he's there. Anyway, I'm going to sign off and see you guys tomorrow.